Hello, everyone, and welcome to War of the Stars, a Star Wars podcast. Coming to you as always from deep within the Outer Rim, far beyond the watchful eyes of the Galactic Empire. My name is Joe McTully, and joining me as always is my co-host, Mr.
Garrett K. Jones. How you guys doing out there in the galaxy?
I am doing well. May the Schwartz be with you.
And also with you.
Yes.
Today we are talking about Star Wars spoofs. And
Yes.
Star Wars spoofs are some of the best spoofs you will ever encounter.
I mean, where should we start? Should we start with the granddaddy of them?
Oh, absolutely.
Or do we start?
We just quoted it, so we might as well.
Yes.
We might as well start off with the granddaddy of all Star Wars spoofs. That isn't the
Spaceballs.
Yeah, Spaceballs. Which
yes,
I do to some extent count the holiday special as being a Star Wars spoof to some degree.
Yeah, I can see that.
But we've already covered that back during the holidays, so we'll just stick with the spoofs that are better known. Yes. So Spaceballs.
Oh, well, it's a different. In a spoof of ones we'll talk about later, and it's not necessarily a direct ripoff, but it's because it takes aspects of different sci-fi genres in a lot of ways. Obviously, Star Wars is the big one.
Yeah, Star Wars is kind of the backbone or the skeleton of the story, but then they have references to Star Trek in there, Alien, Transformers. And there's a variety of science fiction in there.
I mean, definitely. Well, not just mentioning kind of spoofing of Alien. They have a straight up Alien, the actor from Alien.
Yeah, they've got John Hurt, who played Kane, the XO, on in the '79 film Alien, reprising his role. I love it.
Yeah, with the greatest line, it's like, what did he have? He had the special. Check, please.
Well, I think it's great though, just the comedic timing that John Hurt has, where he just looks down at this xenomorph popping out of his chest in the middle of a Star Wars spoof and goes, "Oh no, not again!"
Not again. Yes.
So for me, to be honest, I stopped watching Spaceballs for years, well over a decade. Because of that scene, because at the age of 6, I had seen Aliens, and it freaked me out. So when I saw that one scene, I'm just like, I'm going to back away. And I didn't order. If I went to a restaurant, I never ordered a special.
Yes. Yeah, never ordered a special. Never.
You never do.
No. I mean, Rick Moranis, John Candy.
Dude.
Oh,
that had a who's who of just awesome comedic talent.
Yes, and who I can't think of the guy's name. Lone Star.
Oh, Bill Pullman.
Bill Pullman. You got all these great, comedic geniuses, like you say, and then Bill Pullman just holding his own with all those heavyweights.
And Bill Pullman's no slouch when it comes to comedy either. He's been in his fair share of comedies, mostly through the 90s, doing rom-coms and stuff like that, where he just plays the straight man to the female lead. But he has his moments where he can be legitimately funny, and so he does it very well.
Yes, yeah. That's one thing about any Mel Brooks movie is there's so many quotable moments.
Oh yeah.
I'm a Mog, half man, half dog. I'm my own best friend. That can be taken so many ways.
Oh, I know. There's so many jokes that you can't get away with doing Mel Brooks these days. I haven't seen the new History of the World Part 2 on Hulu yet. I want to watch it. So many things have been popping up, but I'm amazed he was able to get that made with today's political climate.
Yeah. And I'm still waiting for Spaceballs 2: The Search for More Money.
Yes. Although there was talk. Yeah, I know, right? Before you die,
Yes.
There was talk. Well, I know that there's like a brief animated series. In fact, I got to look that up to make sure I'm not getting anything wrong there. But Spaceballs animated series. Okay, so they actually produced 13 episodes back in 2008, from June of 2008 to November, on Super Channel, and then it was released in 2009 on G4, back when G4 was still a thing. But it had much of the original cast. It had Daphne Zuniga, Mel Brooks, Joan Rivers, but by this point, I mean, obviously John Candy had passed away, so they didn't have him.
Yeah. Was Bill Pullman still?
Looking at it, they have Reno Romano replacing Bill Pullman, and then D. Bradley Baker, woot woot, playing Dark Helmet.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And then, of course, Dom DeLuise does make a reappearance as Pizza the Hut.
Yes, Pizza the Hut.
Yeah. Yes. So they have a pretty decent cast, and most of the original showed up. And again, it tends to spoof on sci-fi and a lot of Star Wars stuff, because there's one episode. In fact, it was the second episode. Well, or the first episode, I guess. It was called Revenge of the Sithy.
Sithy, nice.
Yep.
Also a little kind of crossover trivia. The actor who was the soldier combing the desert would actually show up in Star Trek.
Which one?
I believe he's the one that says, when Dark Helmet says, "Have you found anything?" and he says, "Man, we ain't found."
Oh yeah.
He is Tuvok in I believe he became Tuvok. I believe that is Tim Russ.
What?
I looked that up just to verify, but I believe that was Tim Russ.
Let me take a look. Spaceballs. And for those of you listening in, you can hear my keys clacking away because I'm quick on the draw here. Let's see here. Cast. All cast and crew. Load faster computer. There we go. And let's see here. Tony Cox is in it. He plays one of the dinks. Phil Hartman had a voice as a dink. Let's see.
Yeah.
I'm seeing it.
Oh,
there it is. Yeah, he plays the trooper.
Yeah, he plays the trooper.
Oh my gosh. This is awesome.
Yes.
That is awesome.
There's so many, of course, there's a few lines in here that we can't repeat because this is a family-friendly show.
Yes.
But still, I mean, I do like the line where he says the butthole line.
Yes.
Yeah.
I knew it. I'm surrounded.
I'm surrounded.
I gotta say, hands down, I mean, you can never go wrong at all with Spaceballs. It's such like, there's so many things about it that just scream the 80s, because it came out in 87, in the late 80s, and I mean, it was just the seminal thing, like, of it, like, so many things were quintessential of the 80s. I mean, you had the Winnebago, you had Pizza Hut being referenced, you had all these other things that had become super popular within the franchise, or within the zeitgeist of what we were dealing with.
Yeah.
And it's, oh my gosh, it's so funny. And like, what's the merchandising gag of all things, because like merchandising was super big in the 80s. I mean, I know it was back in the 60s and 70s, but like, where you really had, like, you know, franchises to saturate the market with. like, you know, Spaceballs the breakfast cereal, Spaceballs the
Yes.
t-shirt, Spaceballs the flamethrower.
Yeah, where is it? I want it.
I want it too.
Merchandising.
Yeah, and that whole joke came about because, despite the fact that they got their approval from George Lucas himself, who just celebrated his birthday yesterday, as a matter of fact.
Happy birthday, George.
George said, "Yeah, go for it. You've got my blessing. Just no merchandising." And so they did all this fake merchandising in the movie as a joke.
Yeah,
I thought it was great.
That is, yes. I mean, yeah, just classic and
the fact that Helmet's right hand guy is Colonel Sanders. I mean that.
What's the matter, Colonel Sanders? Chicken. Oh. And what made that joke is the way he said,
I know. Well, and what's even better is, like, if they had some kind of Taco Bell reference, they would have had all three of the Yum brands name dropped in some way, shape, or form in one movie.
Yes. When is that? What was the joke? We're looking at later. When is now going to be? When is then going to be now? Soon.
That, like, the writing on this was so good. It was so tight. Like, it was just so well done. And so, yeah, Spaceballs is just one of those. It's one of those shows that, like, or one of those movies that just came out of left field, and it just hits so well. It's always funny, no matter what time you're watching it.
Yeah.
And if you haven't watched it,
do
recommend it highly.
Yes, very so.
If you feel offended by it,
do you think? Yeah. I mean, I think. Do you think this is a movie that is for a certain generation?
Oh, like, absolutely.
Unless you're like a, I mean, as far as, like, do you think this is something that, like, a younger millennial or a older Gen Z or the Gen Z would get, or do you think this is the one that you have to be that Gen X, older millennial age group to really get that movie and really appreciate it?
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, it's funny no matter what. Like, certain things you're only going to get if you grew up in the 80s, or if you were or if you're a fan of the genre of science fiction.
Yeah.
But, like, if you're well versed in pop culture, you're going to get most of the jokes, and most of the jokes aren't even pop culture references. They're there's other things, like, I mean, everybody who's ever seen Star Wars knows that, the tight buns was something that hair buns. Let me be clear. Yeah. Hair buns was something that Princess Leia was known for, especially that iconic style that she had in the very first film.
Yeah,
and they spoof off of that by making those a set of headphones that Princess Vespa is wearing while she's in the car. Absolutely hilarious. Because it's one of those things. Is like, okay, so they're spoofing on. Oh, they're really not spoofing on her. They're spoofing on the fact that it's just So it's really well done. Now, speaking of spoofs or parodies or whatever, did you ever happen to catch the Family Guy trilogy of spoofs?
Oh yeah. Blue Harvest. Yes.
Yeah. Well, there's Blue Harvest. So they start with Blue Harvest.
Yeah, I know there was Blue Harvest.
There is something Dark Side.
Dark Side.
No, wait. Hold on a second. Hold on. We'll have to edit the recording. Someone's at my door.
Oh.
We're not recording live, are we?
No.
Sorry about that, neighbor kid.
Oh, it's okay.
Okay, so we have Blue Harvest. I'm looking at them right now because I've got them on my shelf. something Dark Side was the spoof on Empire Strikes Back, and then It's a Trap.
Yes. Yeah. I don't think I've seen It's a Trap. It's been a while since I've seen them, but I have seen them.
Yeah, I'm pulling them from my shelf now, and it's really funny because like the art on the covers look very similar to the old original art style for the films.
Yes, in fact, if you can see, I have the poster.
Yep.
Back there.
And then It's a Trap looks exactly like the poster from Return of the Jedi.
Mm.
And they do some really fun stuff with this, like who they have doing, like which characters they assign to be the various characters. Like they turn Mort, who's the Jewish pharmacist, into Lando Calrissian.
Yeah. The giant chicken being Boba Fett.
Yeah, I thought that was great because Boba Fett doesn't really say much in the originals, if at all, and then they changed that up for the special edition. But some of the jokes run on for way too long.
Yeah, that is kind of an issue with Family Guy,
and they do get a little. It's definitely not for kids. No. It's not as kid friendly. Although, I mean, some of the jokes probably are about as risque, if not slightly more so, than what's in Spaceballs. So if you're cool with kids watching Spaceballs, they may be okay with this one. But I like them. They were funny.
They were.
What's really hilarious is that in the Empire Strikes Back spoof, they do crack a little bit of a joke with regards to the fact that Leia and Luke are related. In this case, it's played by Chris and Lois, and instead of being brother sister, they're playing mother son, and that gets even weirder. So but those Skywalkers, they're like the rednecks of the galaxy.
Kinda.
Yeah.
I think we can move on to one of my favorites other than Spaceballs, which is the Robot Chicken spoofs.
Those were great.
Those are hilarious. Oh my goodness.
And they actually got some of the real voice actor or some of the real actors to do voices.
One of my favorites is still the one with the Emperor calling Vader right after Order 66. Like, hey, we can. I just remembered we have those younglings there. We can like train them in the dark side. You did what? Or the
you should have said something before.
Yeah. Or the what the heck's the aluminum falcon? I don't know who did the voice of the Emperor. And you even have a connection there to Family Guy.
Yeah.
With what's his name? The voice of Chris.
Seth MacFarlane.
Yeah.
Well, or no, I'm sorry, Seth Green.
Seth Green.
That's the voice of Chris Griffin.
Created Robot Chicken.
Yeah.
Just so many, and the animation style, using that stop motion animation with the characters is just they do some really
fun stuff. Now, some of the spoofs that I've seen more recently on YouTube have been really good too. There's a couple of really good spoof parody type stuff. So like Screen Junkies, if you're familiar with them, Junkies, they'll do the honest trailers. And what I like about it, like, they've got honest trailers for pretty much every single one of the Star Wars movies. And while they're not exactly spoofs, they are poking fun at some of the tropes that pop up in the franchise. Yeah. And it's fun to, like, as a fan, you don't really pay attention because, this is something you love. But when someone calls it out, you're like, oh, yeah. And then there's another one called How It Should Have Ended.
Yes, I was just thinking about that one, How It Should Have Ended. Yes.
Those are hilarious. Like, And what I think is great is they kind of created their own little animated universe using all these pop culture characters. And what they have is they've started doing a series of videos called the Villains Pub, where like the bartender is Palpatine, and he's like, yes, we'll be evil together. Something, dark side.
Yes. They even had a crossover with the 2009 Star Trek, how it should have ended, where the neurotic goes back into and runs into the Death Star.
Yes. Oh man, stop! Gosh, there's so many good spoofs out there.
Yeah,
so many good parodies.
There is. Just
I don't know if you'd call it a parody or a spoof so much, but Pigs in Space.
Oh, that was a good one. Yes, Pigs in Space.
They didn't. I mean, that bit on the Muppet Show only took off because of Star Wars and how popular it was. I mean, the tropes that they were going with were more akin to what you saw in Star Trek.
Yeah, but it was more. The ship and everything. There was more, and of course we have to talk about. And again, I don't know if you consider it a spoof, but Mark Hamill on the Muppet Show.
Oh yeah,
that was. I mean, you see, 3PO, R2D2 both being there. It was just.
Yeah,
now they're all owned by Disney.
Yes, they are. Till all are one. Oh wait, that's Hasbro. Never mind.
I for one welcome our mouse overlord.
You have fun with that one. I'm putting rat traps out around my house. Although to be fair, I really do want to go back to Disneyland and hit up Galaxy's Edge. I have not been there since they've opened, because right when they opened, it was like right before the pandemic. And I'm like, curses. So I definitely need to go, and I would love to. But I know we've been talking about spoofs, but fan films are something we should. I do think we should spend at least one episode talking about, and the reason being is because there are some really good fan films out there that have been made both before and since the Disney era. And these are they're well thought out, and I mean they're not professional by Hollywood standards, but they do really good jobs.
Oh, there's lighting,
effects.
Yeah. I mean, we could talk. I mean, definitely. I think it's definitely something a good topic for, and maybe we do that our next episode. We did the spoofs. Now we can do we can do our fan films. Because there's been some really, really good ones.
Yes, there have been, and there was one that caught my attention. I thought was really cool. Was it was actually done as there's 4 cast members total, and it's a group of different troopers, a squad desert trooper or sand troopers, a couple standard stormtroopers, and they're all being picked off one at a time, and they're all running for the hills because they have no idea what's out to kill them. And if I remember correctly, it's actually a Jedi who's just going nuts after Order 66.
Oh, wow! Yeah, I was thinking there's one they've. I haven't watched the trailer for the new episode 4, but Bucketheads. I'm not familiar with that. They've got 3 episodes. They're short episodes, but they're very well done. It's a group of soldiers on stormtroopers on Endor. At the end of Jedi, and dealing with the aftermath of going through that. It's really good. Again, showing the war from a different point of view, which I think that's what's so great about fan films. Is showing you can show it from different points of view and show get different aspects of it. But maybe that's one we do, because I think we could. That deserves more than just a few minutes of just, hey, this was cool.
Oh yeah. So if you're listening to this and you're hearing us riff on this idea of talking about spoofs or even fan films, because I think next week we've pretty much written our next episode. But whatever your thoughts are on fan films, on spoofs, we'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments section. Definitely be a part of this conversation. If you're listening to us on Spotify, we can add questions to the episode.
Yeah.
That way you guys can respond. We could do a poll or some other kind of question. We'd love to highlight those responses in a future episode.
Definitely. Awesome. Yes, very much so. Well, Garrett, why don't you tell the people out there where they can find you at as we wrap things up?
Well, really quickly,
one more thing. Okay.
There is one more thing, and this is something that you and I talked about last week. We were coming up with ideas for doing monthly live streams.
Oh, yes.
And especially after last week and having our anniversary live stream, we are actually going to be doing once a month. We'll be doing a session of Star Wars role-playing game. I was a big RPG fan back in high school. I still have all my old books, the Game Master Guide, and all that. And so we're going to be doing that. We'll be setting up some characters. John's going to be participating. I'll be game mastering. We'll take turns as well. But we'll have guests come back on who are fans of playing RPGs. And so if you're a fan and you'd like to participate, let us know, because we might be able to bring you on. But yeah, we'll be playing. We're not sure what era the story is going to be set. I'm a big fan of the during the era of the rebellion, and which is like the highlight for me, because that's what John and I grew up on. But that may change depending on the campaign and who's running it. So we would love for you to join us on that every month. We probably won't have anything up running until probably mid-June, I would think. But that's our big goal. But as for me, where you can find me on a couple places, on Instagram and Twitter at GKJ_publishing, where I talk about my books. I talk about my writing projects. I promote War of the Stars, but I'm also on YouTube. I have a show called The Right Way. My channel is GKJ Publishing. Very easy to find. And I just had a brand new author interview with a romance author from New York. And then this coming Saturday, I have a live stream in the afternoon. Or I would take it back. No, not afternoon. In the morning. It'll be at 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific Standard Time on Instagram.
Nice. As for us, right, of course, you can get a hold of us through our email. That is warthestars1@gmail.com. That is also our Twitter handle at warthestars. All other social medias are just under War of the Stars, a Star Wars podcast. If you want to support the show, patreon.com/War of the Stars, or go to our Spreadshirt shop and just search for War of the Stars, a Star Wars podcast. You can check us wherever fine podcasts heard, including Spotify and Apple Podcast. Remember to give us a review on either one. Check us out there. Also check out me and my daughter's YouTube show on the War of the Stars YouTube channel. That is Star Wars Through the Eyes of a Child. It's been getting a lot. I know the last episode got a lot of views already, 120 views already. So thank you for everyone who's been watching that. Very cool. Thank you so much. And until next time, remember, this is not just my Star Wars. This is not just your Star Wars. This is our Star Wars. Until next time, may the Force be with you.
This is the way.